Welcome to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Bust channel, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and today, Adam Shaheen got traded. So, talk about this. Now, I'm going to say up front, this is a very small story in the grand scheme of everything. But obviously, there's not a lot of news, especially on the Bears. And so, we got to talk about it. But also, I'm going to have to dig into this old conversation that people just love to keep arguing about. So I guess we're going to have it again. So I'm telling you up front, I understand small peanuts, but we got to talk about it. So Adam Shaheen was traded to the Miami Dolphins for a 7th round pick that could potentially become a 6th round pick. We don't know the details on that. But whatever, honestly, whatever. It's a 6th round pick or it's a 7th round pick. So a low round pick for a guy that was a former 2nd round pick, obviously signaling that the value is not there. Now, as I said, in the grand scheme of things, small because A, we most likely won't have a season, but also B, if we end up playing or if this was a regular year, you got to remember, we have hella tight ends. You saw this coming. You paid Jimmy Graham money that probably people wouldn't have paid him. And then you took another 2nd round pick tight end. Then you already signed another free agent before the draft. Plus, you had all these tight ends before you knew it was coming. So we have hella tight ends. So Trey Burton obviously got let go, quickly picked up because he's a good player. And then we have Adam Shaheen now being traded. So, like I said, it was kind of the writing on the wall. We knew this was going to happen. There's only one football, not enough to go around to have this many tight ends. And I would say all three, as far as Graham, Kmet, and Harris, they're really excited about. So there was just no room for Shaheen. And then flipping him for a low round pick, a guy that has been really injured, hasn't really put out a lot of tape, it makes sense. So, and plus people are talking about the salary cap, but I honestly don't care if the salary cap was the same. I think this would have happened. I mean, this is a classic trade. So with all that being said, and I saw somebody say highway robbery. That's silly. It's a 6th round pick or 7th round pick, 6th round at best. But so, with all that being said, this goes back to the same conversation. If you've been listening to me for a while, you already know how I feel, what I'm going to say. But for those that are online talking about a bust, talking about how bad he is and blah, 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 or how bad the tight end position is, you're silly. You're silly. You're misinformed. It is what it is. You can argue with me, that's fine, but this isn't a Bears thing. This isn't a me thing. It's a football thing. The way football is played, you have to be given the ball. This isn't, NBA where you can hog the ball and, go rogue. This isn't any other sport. You have to be given the ball. You have to be targeted by the quarterback. So for all these people, like the production of the tight end position, been talking about this forever, or it seems like forever, but the last year, the production of the tight end position, the production doesn't happen in a vacuum. Said it 100 times. It does not just happen by itself. It's not a one-on-one thing that the tight end chooses to do. Production is only predicated off targets and the quarterback giving you opportunity. If the quarterback does not throw, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw to Devontae Adams in the game, if now Kyler Murray doesn't throw to DeAndre Hopkins, Drew Brees doesn't throw to Michael Thomas, Pat Mahomes doesn't throw to Travis Kelce, guess what? They have no production. It doesn't matter what they do. And so there's a lot of factors that go into that. But for the most part, if you want to break down the factors, you got to look at the film or something deeper because numbers will not tell you. And so I've already done the film sessions on Shaheen and all that. You look at the film. It's not a matter of him not doing his job or not being open. Like some people, they can't shake a receiver or they can't shake a defensive back. tight ends are zone eaters. A lot of receivers are zone eaters. I've shown that again and again. All the ones you like, they're zone eaters. Now, Kelsey and Kittle definitely have a different level of route running, but they're still zone eaters. So this idea that, Shaheen couldn't break away from coverage, bro, most of these tight ends can't do that. And so, especially consistently. So, once again, it was not that. And again, it wasn't him not doing his job to our knowledge. It wasn't, him getting the ball thrown to him and not making a play. As I've said before, people want to talk about stats. He has one drop in his career. One drop. One. So the fact that people act like, he can't catch. He's got hands of stone. Bro, he had one drop. And everything else is just him not being targeted or being injured, not being on the field. And as I said with Kevin White a long time ago, I don't count people as busts because they're injury. You have injuries that's part of the game. That's not something that a player wants. Same thing I was talking about with Trey Burton. And so the availability is the best ability, but I'm not going to call a player bust because of that. And then I already said bust is about the GM. Bust is not about the player. People like to say, you're a bust like it's your fault. And some, there's definitely part that a player plays into that. But for the most part, bust is about status. Nobody's like, they got him in the 7th round, you're a bust. It's all about status. And a player doesn't get to pick where they're picked. So if a player has a bad attitude, doesn't work hard and sucks and gets drafted in the 1st round, that's not his fault. That's that's the GM's fault. So the bust goes to the GM. So if you want to say he's a bust because he was in the 2nd round and didn't produce, that's Ryan Pace. That's not Adam Shaheen. Adam Shaheen went where he went and did what he did, and it worked out the way it worked out. So that's me always. But again, the bigger picture is it's not just about him. An offense, you got to play together. So we know Mitch Trubisky, as much as people apologize for him, they went and got another quarterback for a reason. We know the offensive line, as much as people tried to slurp them up 2 seasons ago. Now everybody's turned on them. And so we know there's issues all around, and it's always going to be that because football is a team sport. Very rarely is it just one person's fault unless it comes down to one play. But we're talking about, and really that's not true either, but really we're talking about a career. It's not one person's fault. So I don't feel that negativity towards Shaheen, like people tried to act like, is really ridiculous, to be honest with you. And I wasn't a big Shaheen fan coming out of the draft, and I was not happy we drafted him. So yes, I agree at that moment in time, but to try to justify that with how things worked out, no, because he was not given the opportunity to show what he could do. And so I'm not on Shaheen negatively like that. And then as far as the Bears, I said before, when we signed people and, drafted people, whatever, that don't mean much. It's all about the quarterback. Now, I told you what's going to happen, especially if Nick Foles is the quarterback. There's going to be an emphasis. There's going to be a mandate to get Kmet the ball, to get Graham targets, and it's going to look different. And people are going to be like, I told you we needed to tight. It does not matter. It really does not matter at all. Like, well, it matters a little bit, but for the most part, it doesn't matter. Like, production at the tight end. Look, you think that Michael Thomas and Drew Brees, they're like, oh man, like if he's eating, he's got record amount of receptions, he's doing his thing. You think they're gonna be like, oh my God, we need a tight end. Why isn't the tight? Like, they don't care. If you got somebody doing the work, it doesn't matter. Now, it matters somewhat because of leverage and the way you line up. But honestly, you could take they do take a Michael Thomas, a Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans. They put them in the slot. They put them as big slots. And that's usually where the tight end flexes out to. So, again, especially when we're talking about receiving, it doesn't matter that whole much. Because if you got a productive player inside and out, it doesn't matter who it is. Guess what? If they took out our tight end, Trey Burton, Shaheen, or whatever, and they put in a different receiver and he was eating there, It wouldn't matter that he's not a tight end. It just matters, do you have an inside and an outside presence? That's it. And so if Allen Robinson started going inside to the close slot on trips or the slot on doubles, and he was eating from the inside, then guess what? Don't matter about the tight end. So this idea of the tight end production is stupid because there's it's going to be teams where it's not balanced. Most teams aren't, especially when you got high caliber players. And usually if it's spread out, you don't have a lot of high caliber players. So this idea that, oh, we need the tight end production is silly. It's absolutely silly. What we need is tight ends to block better. And that's everybody. That wasn't a Shaheen thing. That was all our tight ends thing. And pretty much in the league, that's a lot of the tight ends. So that's what we need. But outside of that, the whole tight end argument is just so stupid to me, to be honest with you. And so you got a lot of people that are negative and being ugly towards Shaheen, like it was his fault. It's wasted energy for what? You really think that's what he wanted? So anyway, he goes to the Dolphins. We get a low round pick, whatever. We got hella tight ends. And we'll see if the season happens. But, yeah, we got a little bit of Bears news. Everybody's excited. But I don't think this means much going forward. I think you got a crowded room. You have to unload people to get some assets, and that's what it is. So, all right, go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thank you for listening. And remember, stay up and bear down.